Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're going to be having a look through and cleaning another box of vintage Pelican paperbacks. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so we're starting with this one, which is Pelican A231, England in the 18th century. And to put this in date perspective, it's 1950. There we are, 1950. So to be honest, by the 1950s, Pelican books themselves have become quite robust, as it were. This one's got a bit of damage on the top there, so I'll stick a bit of glue in there. They've become a lot better than, well, what they used to be. We're through the wartime paper blitz now, and the books are generally produced to quite a high standard. In fact, I think a lot of people would say that the 1950s Penguins are amongst the best looking and feeling of the books that were ever done in the sort of the earlier years of Penguin. I mean, I think that the actual 1960s ones are perhaps slightly more lovely to actually read, the way that they're typeset and the way that they're actually made. But the 1950s is still very, very good. The 40s is obviously the decade where the books are suffering the most because of paper rationing. But that was just a little nick at the top there, and that seems absolutely fine. Now, not a great deal we could do on that. And as I said, with these Pelican books, it's not like they're mega valuable or anything like that. So I'm just really happy to have one, unless they're absolutely falling to bits, you know. And so 232. I won't do all the numbering, but I've pretty much got this run consecutive with maybe an odd one missing. So I won't list all the numbers per se. And this one is on music. And when I was pulling these off the shelf, I thought, well, these don't actually look too bad, in all honesty. Cinema 1951. So these are nice because they've got this photo insert there, you know. And it's not glossy, it's sort of matte finish on these, but yeah, they're all right. So that was music. That was Music and Cinema 1951. And both of those did have, there was like a Penguin film review magazine and a Penguin music magazine as well. And this one's got somewhere down the bottom. England in the late Middle Ages. Now, one thing that you may or may not notice, look at this spine here. It's virtually all the way off. Yeah, I think I'm just going to tease this one off. There we are. Yes. Lay that one flat. So you may or may not notice but I'm using new camera equipment, and maybe slightly foolishly I'm using new microphones as well. So I'm taking a bit of a chance and trying to get these videos looking and sounding better than ever. Now, it's a bit different with the ASMR because I know people like to hear not just the commentary, but also the sounds of the actual books being cleaned. So if you think that you prefer the old method rather than the new method, leave a comment below. So if you can do a little comparison. I've had one bit of feedback so far when I've mentioned it, and the people, they said it looked and sounded much better than it used to. So that's what I'm aiming for, basically. So that's a good sign. But you let me know what you think. So I'm attempting to film this one on, as I said, new camera equipment. It's in 4K, 60 frames a second, which is better than my usual sort of HD with 30 frames a second. And it may be that the videos take a little bit longer to process on my computer once they've been edited, but at the same time, I think in 2024 4K now is, lots of people, I'm amazed because a lot of people watch my videos on, HD TVs and plasmas and what have you. And that always scares the hell out of me, really, because I think, well, they can't look that good on massive HD displays. So I'm going to have a little try, and we'll film a few videos on this and my other channel in 4K. And we'll just see how we get on with editing and how they do look on the bigger screen. Right, cruising. So it's got a little map of some sort in the back there. Yeah, sailing lanes rather. I insert as well with the flags. Very nice, that was lovely. There's a biggie. Facts from figures. A layman's introduction to statistics. Okay, well, it can remain a layman's introduction because maths was never my strong point. I was always into words, shall we say. That was my thing. The British Worker. Yeah, so quite a few of these are in a bit of an old foxed state, but we don't mind. Mozart's Letters, A238. Yeah, very, very tanned, you could say. That's how that one would be described. Now this one's it's a volume in the Pelican Archaeology series, and it's in a dust wrapper, Iran. Quite nice in a wrapper like that. So I'm going to take the wrapper out because it's probably never been out of its wrapper, and it's become a bit of a dust trap. So that's the book itself, de-dusted. If you can see in here, that's very, very, looks like a light dust there. There we are. Unusual to have one from that period in a wrapper. Let's just double check the date on it, make sure it is indeed a first, and it looks like it. English version, first published 1954. So I think this is correct. It is the first pelican rather, but it's one of those ones where they've come back a little bit later to fill in the number, I believe, because that was dated 54, and this next one is 53. So it was where they just went back and used the number up. So this is A240, The Ant World. Absolutely fine, that one. English Village. Victor Bonham Carter. Lovely. See How They Grow. A summary of wonders and beauty of the plant world. Okay. That's all right. 19th century opinion. An anthology of extracts from the first 50 volumes of the 19th century. Whatever that was, must have been a period magazine. So moving them over there to get a new pile started. Butler's moral philosophy. Okay. Yeah, it's funny how so many of these are a little bit foxed. I wonder if it was just the paper being used at the time on these Pelicans. I don't know. Beginnings of English Society. That's got a black mark on it there. And not the end of the world black mark, but it's still a black mark. It's not in pencil. It looks like one of those ones you would use to mark china, you know? Like a wax pen. A Life of One's Own. This is 1952, this one. So they're in numerical correct order, but they just jump around a little bit. England in Translation, A248. Ralph Hill, The Concerto. A big thick book, this one. Contemporary British art. That one's, I can see, got a bottom of the spine's going to need a little looking at. Half of this book is plates here. Even a colour one in there. Wow. But needs a little re-gluing. Interesting that it's an anniversary number as well, 250. So they obviously pushed the boat out for number 250. That would be just the sort of thing Penguin would do. I can assure you that that was not an accident. That Penguin made a bit of a special point about making such a lavish book, Pelican number 250, because that's the sort of thing they would do. Now this is 2 layers, so that's the first layer in, as you can see. Now we need another tiny smidgen on the end here to get the second layer in. This glue's just about had it. I've got that second one on standby. And hopefully by this being in 4K HD, I might be able to really zoom in on that little bit of repair there and retain the quality. So we'll have a little look at that in the editing stage and see if it's made a bit of a difference. Right, animal painting in England. Another quite lavish one, actually. Look at this. Almost the same format as the last one. And equal in its extravagance. English Society in the early Middle Ages. I've got to say, one of the series I really enjoy with Pelican is their history of England and England-speaking people. And I don't know if we've got any in this one, but I think they do work their way back, you know, literally from the Stone Age, virtually, all the way up to the 19th century. And it's a really good sort of history of the country. They didn't do it with all countries, but did do it with England. This has got some, I'm not sure what they are, but they're flicking off with my nail. It's like a bit of, I don't know. So it almost feels like a little bit of grit on the cover. It's not grit. I'm just not sure what it is, to be honest. Pearson Pragmatism. Okay. Very, very foxed, a lot of these. Music, 1950. A225. Oh, I see. I have actually unpacked this box ever so slightly out of order. It's probably my fault when I was dragging them off the shelf. But the main thing is, you are seeing all the books that were in this particular run. So this is the same as what they did last year. They did Cinema and Music 1951. This is Cinema and Music 1950. We're not going to go back and refilm it. The main thing is you're getting to see the books. Our language. Now that one, someone's had the cheek to put their name and a date across the top there. So, but it's in pen, so there's nothing I can do about that. Buddhism. Obviously these are all going to need a good brush, but I won't be able to give them a polish, of course, because they've got like the paper covers on. But they will all have a nice brush. Yeah, I completely mucked up the number in here today, but we don't mind too much. Right, that's that little wedge done. The normal child and some of his abnormalities. What about her abnormalities? Just the boys that are weird, obviously. Bit of an awful mark of some sort. That's coming off. I think that was a bit of fluff, you know. That crept into it somehow. The Scots. So I hope you've been enjoying my latest sort of cleaning videos, and I've introduced the element of bagging the collection now, and that's going really well. And I do sort of one bagging video a month on this channel and one bagging video a month on my main channel. So if you particularly enjoy the bagging videos, do check out the main channel. My most recent one, which goes live today as I film this one, is bagging up sort of penguin catalogues and penguin order forms, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I've always loved collecting them, and they're really, really nice. Quite a few mention pelicans. I don't think I've got any pelican specific ones, but there's certainly some pelicans in there. The Life of the Robin. Because by the time you see this, I shall be on my way back from a few days away. I'm going up to Liverpool, which is a place I've been through, but I've never stayed and spent some time looking around the place. And I'm very much looking forward to doing that. There is one, I can't remember the name of it, but there's one big bookshop, and evidently I should be filming that, as you can imagine. And there are a couple of Beatles museums, and we're staying in a Hard Day's Night hotel. So it should be quite fun. I'll make a little travel log video while I'm up there out and about. Nothing too extravagant, but just for a bit of fun. And I said I'm looking forward to the looking around the big bookshop. Apparently it's a real excellent one in the world of second-hand bookshops. It's quite big as well. So I'd imagine I'm going to find something there. And there's a little corner of this spine that's going to need a repair. Yeah, I'd be disappointed if I didn't find anything there, you know. But you never can tell. Big city like Liverpool has probably got lots of people checking the shop out every day, so I doubt I'll get any bargains. But at the same time, I would hope to get something, because I do collect obscure stuff, don't I? And we will do all the charity shops and things like that, as well as any new bookshops I come across as well. So look out for that one hopefully just before the London Paperback show, which I am attending, and that's at the Bloomsbury Coram Street Holiday Inn in London, and it's on Sunday, March the 24th. So it's 2 weeks today as I film this one, because I filmed this one on Mother's Day. Going to see my mum in a minute. And if you can make it to the London Paperback show, do come and say hello. Lovely. Right, I'm just going to pause there and make a bit of space. Okay, mysticism and logic. but that's an interesting title. Some of the later ones, as we get to the late 50s and into the 60s titles, the actual subjects become, I think, absolutely fascinating. You get ones on astronomy, space travel, the early days of computers, other subjects like British social history, witchcraft, the occult. I mean, absolutely some fantastic subjects, and they're some of the most interesting Pelicans of all to me. You know, those ones and the wildlife ones. Now, this is an interesting one. So, plastics in the service of man, and this book is laminated. Look at that. So, because it's a book on plastics, it's actually got a plastic cover specifically around it on purpose. The plastic wrap is slightly coming off there, so I'm not going to risk giving this one a polish, but it's interesting that they did that on that particular book. An introduction to John's psychology and Young. It's got a little pencil, something or other on the back. Haven't had to do any prices, have we, today? I think that's probably because a lot of these were from an original owner collection. Now, this one has also got that same spot and a little bit down the bottom there. So 2 bits to repair on this particular one. If I can find any more Pritt stick in here to dig out. Oh, there we are. There's a first bit. So I'll do this bottom bit first of all. Okay, this top bit, it's single ply, so I just need a nice little wedge to go in that little triangle there. So, see if I can dig something out here. Probably a little bit too much, but we'll have a go. There we are. Let's see if that goes in pretty. Probably a bit too much, but I'm going to squidge it out. The main thing is it keeps both those little bits in place. Doesn't make it look any better, but it's not going to make it actually lose that entire little bit of the spine, you know? Okay, the House of Commons at work. What do you mean these MPs work? It's a bit of a thankless job, isn't it, being an MP these days? Doesn't matter how good you are, you're always going to get your critics, as it were, aren't you? Music 52, 1952, so we've seen 50, 51 and 52 for the music, and I see the next one's a cinema one. So it's like an annual review then, by the look of it. There's the cinema one. Yeah, it's got the same wedge of pictures in. Stills. Yeah, one for the cinemaphile, I would imagine. A Forgotten Kingdom. Okay, now slide that pile over there. Onto our last sort of quarter of the books now. And then we'll just finish them off with a bit of a brush. So nothing so far anyway, we've still got a little pile to get through, but nothing too taxing repair-wise today. And a fairly short video. But as you know, these things can go one of two ways. They can be either super detailed and complicated, or they can just be like these, which hasn't presented much in the way of problems for us today, is it? One complete spine reglue. Look at this, look, this is that same thing again. What is that? Is it mothballs? It looks like it, doesn't it? But it looks like actually just fluff, you know? But yeah, they do vary. And of course, it's not too long. It's like mid-50s. I think all the Pelicans then get glossy covers, so we can then start giving them a polish as well. Sacred Books of the World. Well, this should be a book that I read. Not that I've got many books that I would consider sacred, but I've certainly got many favourites that I would think are a bit sacred, you know. The Legacy of the Ancient World, Volume 1. Look at how incredibly boxed this is, you know. And I can't help but feel, I mean, I'm not going to go around and upgrade these, but some of these are much more aged than I sort of remember. But I got them all, as I think I've said before, I really got the bulk of my Pelican collection, the backbone of it, from one collector who was a friend of mine who collected them for years. And he just wanted them to go to a good home. And I said, well, I've not got many Pelicans. I think at the time I had about 200. So I said, I'll definitely take them all off you. I think I got them at a pretty decent price. And he threw in all his spare penguins as well. So I had some penguin upgrades and swaps and stuff like that, which was really good of him. He was a retiring bookshop manager. But it's interesting how these books, which are admittedly 74 years old, a lot of the books we're looking at today are, yeah, it's almost 75 years old. I bet this is good. You know, because of the paper that they were printed on, although this is better than most, they just haven't seemed to have survived without foxing and aging, you know? So that is what it is. But I shan't lose any sleep over it. Because as I said, it's just nice to have a copy in my Penguin library, even if they're not in the best possible condition. They will get better as time goes on, certainly. I guarantee you that. And they're still better than the wartime ones, which were absolutely falling to bits, weren't they? Men of Mathematics, this is a two-parter. Wow. Vocabulary of Politics. So we're almost at the end now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the books actually back into correct numerical order. I shall reset the camera so we can do a bit of a brushing exercise to finish this one off, which is evidently what they need. And this is the last one. And that was a whole comic box full. So A280. A280. So about 50 or 60 books this time round. Lovely. Right, let's get brushing. Okay, so we're back in the room. Now, in actual fact, there was only 5 books that were out of position. And it was the very first sort of books that I pulled out. So, completely my fault. But I don't think it spoilt your enjoyment. I hope not. So some of these will definitely be worse than others, but we'll take them as they come. going to be a dusty one today, guys and girls, I'm afraid to say. But that's just the way it goes. It's a mucky old process. So that's the first stack done. I'm going to just clean the lens. Masses of dust coming off these. But that is why we're doing it. Some are worse than others. None of them are good, shall we say. You can see when they're like this why I need a brush and not the old toothbrush that I used to do my cleaning with. It's just needs something a bit more vigorous, you could say. Next one. Right, that's the second pile done. So you must let me know what you think of the new camera and sound setup. Better, worse, about the same, didn't really notice it. I would be keen to get your feedback. So I think next week it's the turn of main series Penguin books, I believe. Still working our way through those. Then we're on to more pounds, and we'll have another bagging video, so plenty to look forward to. The hardbacks are pretty much done now. I may do a video where I pull my Star Wars hardbacks and give them all a clean. Now the reason for that is because I'm selling my Star Wars collection, and there's a dedicated Facebook page just for Star Wars books, and I'm going to put the whole lot up there in one like mega lot, and I'm going to do a video first on them. But I'd like to get them all cleaned as much as possible first, so that will be quite a big video, or a long video rather, but I think it'll be interesting all the same, so that'll be a one-off. So Star Wars books in my collection. I'm not getting rid of quite everything, but I am going to be getting rid of a lot of the larger format sort of books and annuals, so the time for those to go is now, and make a lot of room as well, so it'll be quite beneficial to get a shot of those. So that is one video I do have planned, which is slightly beyond the norm that you would see on here, but it is still book cleaning, so that's the main thing. But yeah, if you've enjoyed today's video, please give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment as well if you like. Thanks for watching today, and I will look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be doing another box of main series vintage Penguin paperbacks, which will be very cool. So I see you then. Bye.